Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video I have some sports romance recs for you. I was going to divide this up into like different sports and do those individually, but I decided I'm going to do both. So this is just going to be like some general, sports recs from different sports, and then in the future I will do like specific videos like hockey romance recs, football romance recs. I'll do like a different video for each sport just to like give you more options. But for now, I'm going to start with this video, so let's get into the books. Firstly is one of my all-time favorite sports romances. It is The Wall of Winnipeg and Me by Mariana Zapata. I feel like this is her most popular book. Everyone talks about this one. I really love this one. It follows a professional football player and his personal assistant. He is like a super big jerk to her and she ends up quitting, and he doesn't last that long before he's back knocking on her door begging her to come back. And it's definitely like enemies to lovers. She's sort of reluctant to be around him anymore because he is just kind of like, he's doing things because he likes her, but the way it's coming across is just like he is constantly annoying her and she just like doesn't want to be around him anymore and whatever. And this one is just like so good. I know it gets like so much hype. It is definitely like super slow burn. It is a huge book. It, takes forever to get to the end of Mariana Zapata books where like they finally get together, but this one is so good. Definitely one of my favorite football books for sure. Next is Enemies by Tijin. This is another football book. This one when I read, I remember being a little confused because they don't actually really clarify in this book if this guy is an NFL player or like a college football player. So it took me a little while to realize that he's actually an NFL player and this girl is at college in the city that he is playing for the NFL team in. And she ends up living in this like super like tiny little basement apartment and is just kind of like, I'm gonna go about my life, and she doesn't want anything to do with this guy. She like really hates him, and he shows up one day and he's like, I need to talk to you, and she's like, no you don't, like get out. And she just like cannot stand him, he can't stand her, but he's like, I need to talk to you about something and like we need to like sort of deal with this. And it goes from there. I really like this one. It's obviously an enemies to lovers as well. Definite like tension between the two of them, and I just really like this one. I liked the sort of aspect of her being in college and him being like an NFL athlete as opposed to like a college football athlete. I thought that was sort of interesting, and I don't feel like I see a lot of books like that, but I really enjoyed this one. Next is The Cheat Sheet by Sarah Adams. This is also a football romance. I think these are actually written, I wrote them down in order of sport. So this one is also football romance. This one is like the epitome of best friends to lovers. Follows a guy and a girl who are like inseparable, super best friends, like to the point where when this guy has girlfriends, sometimes they're like, choose her or me, and he always chooses her. And they're just like so cute. Like I love this book so much. It has such like good best friends to lovers vibes. I feel like that's a trope that sometimes a lot of people don't like, but I think in this one it's done so well. And I just really love that. The guy obviously is a football player in this one, and she is a dancer, I believe. So they're both kind of athletic, and I just, like I said, this one's really cute and definitely like good best friends to lovers trope. Next is The Baller by Vi Keeland. This one follows a girl who is a sports reporter and a guy who is a professional football player, and he is just kind of like picking on her. Like she's obviously in the locker rooms doing the interviews and she's kind of struggling because she's like one of the only female reporters, and she's kind of trying to like, make a name for herself and stand her ground against all these guys. The first time she interviews him, he is like in the locker room out of the shower and he drops his towel while she's interviewing him, and obviously like the camera can't see what he did, so she kind of just gets all like flustered and he thinks it's hilarious, but she can't stand him now because she's like, he's trying to ruin my career, and that's all like one big joke to him and whatever. And I really liked this one. I thought it was really cute. It's, like I said, a football romance, and so she's around a lot because she's a reporter, so they kind of just like, there's a lot of opportunities for him to get on her nerves, and I really like this one. Next is the Him series by Elle Kennedy and Serena Bowen. This is probably, I would say, maybe one of my favorite sports romances of all time. I love this series. It follows Wes and Jamie, who are both hockey players. They were best friends when they were kids. They went to this summer camp together all the time. It was like a hockey camp. And now they are older, they're college age, and they have bumped into each other at a hockey game. And one of them goes back to the summer camp every summer and works as like a coach for the kids, and he mentions it kind of offhandedly to the other guy, and the other guy decides he's going to show up at this camp like unannounced, and he's also going to coach for the summer. and it starts from there. Like I said, I love this series so much. All the books in the series follow Wes and Jamie, and then there's like a spin-off series called the WAG series that focuses on other hockey players that are like on the same team. But I really, really loved this series. It's really sort of unique in that I think like the first one, like I said, is set at a hockey camp, so it's not like they're playing like professional hockey. They're like with kids all day and they're at the beach and like different things, and I really like that sort of vibe to it as well. Next is the Brooklyn Bruiser series by Serena Bowen. This one is, again, one of my favorite hockey romances. Serena Bowen is really good with the hockey romances. It is such a good read. All of the books in the series actually are super good, which is why I'm recommending the whole series. They're all hockey books. They're all standalone, so they all follow a different couple. You could read, each one separately if you wanted to, or all in order. All the guys in this series I found were like super sweet and just like really easy to root for. I really love them. They all have different tropes, obviously, and different things. The first one follows a guy who ends up being, I think he's traded or drafted onto this team that is looking for a new coach or manager, and he signs on to the team and doesn't know that his high school ex-girlfriend is like the social media person for the team, and the guy that ends up being the new coach or manager or whatever position it was ends up being her dad, and she broke up with him, so he doesn't understand why they're both kind of like mad at him. Like her dad seems angry with him, and he's like, what the heck did I do? Like, I loved her, I still love her, like how is this my fault kind of thing. And it's just like such a sweet book. I love that first book so much. Like I said, the whole series as well is really good. Next is Culty by Mariana Zapata. This one, obviously very popular soccer romance, follows a girl who ends up on a professional women's team that is being coached by her childhood idol, but he ends up being a lot grumpier than she was expecting. He's like super rude to her dad and like different things that are just like making her really hate him, even though she's always looked up to him. And so it sort of goes, this one sort of goes like enemies, friends to lovers, because there's definitely like a friendship that forms before anything happens. And this one's just really, unique. It's obviously like a female athlete, which is nice change. And soccer is like not a super common one, I think, in romances. So that one is really popular for that as well. Another one that's like very similar to this is Everything for You, part of the Bergman Brothers series. This one is another soccer romance. It's very similar to that one, where this guy ends up being co-captain with a guy who he can't stand but was his childhood idol, and he is like super like grumpy sunshine going on in that one. They've also got age gap, enemies to lovers, like I said, grumpy sunshine. It's got like all the good tropes in this book. I cannot recommend this book enough. I absolutely loved it. It's obviously MM. Super, super good. There's also the second book in the Bergman Brothers series is a sports romance as well. It follows, actually the first one is as well. The first one is Only When It's Us. That one is, the girl is a soccer player. She ends up dating this guy in her class who is deaf, and she asks him for notes one day and he doesn't hear her, and she thinks he ignored her, and she thinks he's like the rudest guy on the planet, so she kind of like harbors this grudge against him for really no reason because he didn't actually hear her. And so it like goes from there in that one. The second book, Always Only You, follows another brother from the family, and that one is a professional hockey player, so that one's got sports romance in it as well. The whole series kind of has like different sports without it. A lot of the family is soccer players. There is one, I believe, where neither of the people play sports, but most of the series, one of them is an athlete, and so this is a good one as well. Next is the Field Party series by Abby Glines. This is one of my favorite football series. It is a high school series though, so it's not like professional athletes, but it's very like small town, everyone knows about the football team kind of thing. And I personally really like the series. It's one of the few YA series that I do keep up with. I haven't read the newest one that just came out, but the other ones I did enjoy when I read them, and if you're more into the, the younger side or the YA books, this one is a really good place to start. And those are all of my sports romance recs for today. Like I said, I will do individual sports videos in the future so that I can give you more details and more options, but this is just going to be kind of the start of that. So thank you guys so much for watching. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button down below. I do new book videos every single week, and I'll see you next time.